Okay, Violetta, you've sent me several different views of your discus throw, which is good for looking at the different angles. Here's the view from 12 o'clock. Here's a view from 9 o'clock, stand throws. Here's a view from 6 o'clock, a full throw. And then we have views again from 9 o'clock, full throws. So I'm going to compare you against Sander Perkovic and Valerie Allman. Here a view from 12 o'clock, full throw. And got some notes here. First thing I wanted to take a look at was your right foot landing short of the middle. So let's take a look right here. See if I drew a line right across the center. You can see your toe. This case is landing right on the middle. But in order to get your left foot close to the back of the circle here, near the foul line, you might want to have that land a little bit farther. Here, let's take a look at Sander Perkovic over here. You can see where her center line is right here, that white line. You can see where she lands. It's quite a bit further. Maybe at least a foot past the center line, so right about here somewhere. Not to say everyone can do that. It all depends on your height, but something that you might want to shoot for. And we'll take a look here and see if there's some reason why you can't go a little bit further across. The main reason I see for people not being able to go farther across the ring is this left knee. See how you've got it down right here? It looks pretty good. But then you see how it extends vertically right here? And that's just going to make you kind of pop up in the air right here and come down short. So, taking a look at Sander Perkovic on the right here again. Let's watch her left knee. See, it's very low down here. Okay. And as she drives into the circle, she extends it, but you see how the extension is forward? Her leg is straight, but she's got more of an angle forward. Let's take a look at yours. See how much more vertical yours is compared to hers? She's driving into the circle. Okay. And point this out again, too, while we're here. As she's, this right leg is turning and coming into the center. You can see how the right foot gets below the knee. Okay, and how her knee is up high, her thigh is almost parallel to the ground. And you see how your leg is pretty much straight. We've kind of chatted about that already, where you kind of swing that leg in. So you want to bend, have a bend in the knee right here. One thing is the knee really, if you watch her here, you'll see that the knee really doesn't rise. It stays the same level. Here, I'll put a line across so you can see. Bring that down to her knee level. Okay, now let's watch how her, straighten the line a little bit. Watch how her right knee stays on that yellow line. I've got to make this more permanent. Visibility, always visible. Okay, now watch how her right knee stays kind of on that line. See it? Actually goes above it a little bit there. Okay, and then she lands pretty much on that same line. Now let's do the same thing with you. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is on the right knee. And let's see how, okay, you see how high the knee went? But your thigh really didn't change. Take a look at Sander Perkovic again. See how her knee, her knee follows this line the whole way, but her thigh is higher. It stays parallel to the ground. See that? It has a horizontal thigh. And see how your thigh is totally vertical here? So the key is right here to keep the knee high And at this point, you want your thigh to be more vertical. This is where the sprint comes in. Okay, so you don't want this leg straight. You want to be bent here with this foot underneath, but you want this thigh up higher. Okay, so I think that's going to help you to get into the circle more by keeping this knee down low. See her left knee here, Sandra Perkovic. See, even though she's driving forward and that leg straightens, the angle is more forward. Okay. Got her left shoulder just in front of the thigh. Let's see how you do there. Yeah, looks good. Shoulder just ahead of the thigh. That's good. Okay, it's this jump that you do right here. See how the knee comes way up high. It's that jump because you're going vertical. That's what's making you kind of spin in the air. So you want to keep the knee low and drive forward across. All right, so that was the first thing. Second thing is, get rid of this line here. Well, your foot lands and the heel's up, but then you drop it down right here. And that's going to give you that backing in, as Arete Throws Nations explains, that backing in motion. So the hips will shift and you're kind of just going across the circle that way rather than rotating. You can see your right foot hits right here, and it doesn't turn at all as you move. Left side's moving. Okay. And you can see at this point how far your hip is off the foot. Let's take a look at Sandra Perkovic again. Okay, you can see when the right foot lands, see the hip is right on top. Now watch how she rotates the foot continuously, and the hip, see, stays on top. This is the key part right here, where you kind of want to, in your case, you kind of back in or go linearly into your left foot plant, and everything shifts off. Watch how she instead fights that and rotates. See the rotation right there? Still keeping the hip on top of the foot. And you see how, in your case, you drive the hip away from the foot. You come off of it. Okay. The other problem with that is when your foot, the heel comes down flat, you've got a good angle here, but your body angle matches your foot angle. But let's watch Sandra Perkovic here. You can see when the heel is up, you've got a steeper angle with the shin and the body. They still match, but they're steeper. And what that does is you can see how that brings the discus up high. You can see how low your discus is here. Okay. I know you talked about trying to, in these practice sessions, you're trying to be a little more vertical, but it's just something to keep in mind because the end result is that you've got a lot of wobble in your release, and I think this will help. So the other thing is take a look where your eyes are. This is part of your wanting to be more vertical here during this practice, but your actual throws, you're going to want to have your eyes down here. You can see where Sandra Perkovic's eyes are in both of these views. You can see how they look down. That keeps her head in a neutral axis to her spine. Okay. Your head is kind of tilted back away from your spine. Okay. And having this heel up, yeah, it's gonna bring your angle forward more, which will bring this discus up more up here. Okay. All right. All right, next thing I wanted to talk about was, let's go to another view. Let's go to the view from the front. Actually, you can see it here too. Where your left foot stops right here. I call that pointing down the left sector line. I know some people coach that and they teach it, but you don't see any top-level throwers doing it. Because I think what happens here is your legs kind of get crossed, the knees are close together, and I think it forces you to jump upward here. See that? Rather than keeping the knee low and jumping and driving forward. Let's take a look at the Sander Perkovic here. She turns it, but she starts off kind of off center. Let's take a look at Valerie Ullman. Okay, this is a good shot right here. Okay, so we're watching this left foot. You see how the foot does not stop. It goes all the way until it's facing the throwing direction. Okay? And then she just drives that way. The timing is perfect. When it's finally rotated to the 6 o'clock or down the throwing direction, that's when she comes off. Okay, and see how that keeps her driving forward, not jumping up. Even though she extends her left leg right here, you see she doesn't rise up. She's driving forward still. Okay, it's just something you might want to try. I know a lot of people coach that, but I've even heard Coach V talk about Daniel Stahl where he does it and he's trying to get him to not do it. Okay. So we talked about the discus being at the low point. You bring it up high, but you bring it up high a little early. Right here. You try to carry it right here a little bit high, but you see how it kind of drops down at the where it should be high. You see where Valerie Ullman's got it super high up here, above the shoulder. So she's coming up from back here in a low position, up to a high position. I've got a better view from the side, right here. Okay, you can watch her bring it up high. Okay. Again, she's on her toe, the heel's up. Her body angle's matching her Shayna angle, so she's got a good lean with that heel up. And the discus in her case is actually above her shoulders. For women throwers, the discus tends to be a lot higher than in the men's. Probably most likely because the women are much more flexible, and the discus is quite a bit. It's half the weight, so they can get a lot of stretch back there. Get it up high, and there's your orbit. See where the discus is here? This is where you want to release it too. So you're going to get that orbit. What you're doing is you've got the discus down. Let's look from the side. I think this is what's affecting the wobble. Okay, so you got the discus here, low. Okay, but then you release it up here, high. Let's watch as it comes around how high it is right here. See the hand? So it's here, but then it's almost horizontal, and then you bring it up high. So the orbit's not established like Valerie Ullman does. She establishes the orbit here, the high point, and then she releases at that same point. By not doing that, by having it low here, horizontal, and then bringing it down and then up, I think that that affects the discus release. All right. We talked about this a little bit earlier. The close knees. Let's take a look from this direction and see if your knees are close. Yeah, you can see it right here. Now, I may think your knees are actually close, but they may not actually be close. It's just because your left knee and the foot are facing this way down the right sector line rather than turning all the way like Valerie Ullman. Let's take a look at that her from same view. Okay, right here. See, because her knees over here down the left sector line or toward the 6 o'clock, her knees look farther apart. Well, they actually are farther apart, which brings this right leg out wide. Your leg looks about the same, the right leg. So keeping the knees apart may not apply unless you actually take this left knee and point it toward the throwing sector more rather than stopping it here. Because that's artificially, I guess, keeping your knees closer together. But the important thing is that your right leg comes out wide in the sweep, which it's doing, so that's fine. Okay, now let's take a look at your side view, right? Let's see. This one. All right, so we talked a little bit about getting that left foot off the ground. Let's take a look at Valerie Allman here, the side view. I think the key is keeping this foot and the shin in line with the left butt cheek, I guess. Not letting it get too far behind. See how she tries to align it again? Because that's where it's going to end up right here, right behind. Okay, all in a line. So you want a little bit of a stretch here where it's out, it's kind of delayed a little bit, but you want to bring it as fast as possible back underneath. You want this foot back in line here with the thigh. Because what you see here with you is this situation where your foot is way behind. Okay? That's just going to delay the action of getting here. You're not turning your hips in, rotating them, because you're leaving this foot behind. So get it aligned here, right behind the thigh a little bit sooner. This is going to allow you to get more rotation around too, because you'll see that you're not really rotating this foot around as much as it's more linear. You just kind of right here, from this point, you're just kind of stepping it down in a straight line, rather than rotating it around the right side here. So everything's rotating around this axis. It's just kind of a linear motion. Let's watch Valerie Allman again. You'll see how everything rotates together. The right foot, the left foot, around this axis from her head to her foot. See how it all rotates? Rotates and comes down. Okay. This brings us to the next point. I'm gonna use your video from the front here, I think. Right here. Okay, so let's watch your left foot land. Okay, you can see how the knee is pointing way out this way toward 9 o'clock in the foot. That's just really going to block off your hips. At this point, your hips are closed off. They need to be a little more open to the front. Now watch Valerie Allman's left foot as she lands. She's bringing the knee up and rotating it. And watch the left foot. Okay, you can see how these are facing much more open to the front and not as closed off as yours. And then watch, the next point is, watch as your heel lands. Okay, this foot will not move again. Now the right side is going to rotate around. See, the foot stayed there, it didn't rotate around, and then she comes off. Of course, she's doing reverse and you're not, so let's take a look at Sandra Perkovic for the same thing. Okay, let's watch her left foot here land. Rotates the knee outward, and you can see how the left foot and knee are landing out toward the throwing direction. You can see it here in this video, or this the left video of her too. See, everything's much more open. Okay, well, your knee is out here almost to the side. Let's take a look. Maybe there's another view from the 12 o'clock. We can see that. Well, we can see it here too. Here you can really see it. Left toes go down, the knee is here. Do you see the hips? They're facing not 9 o'clock or even out here at 8 o'clock, but they're facing almost back this way, about 9:30 toward 10 o'clock. They should be much more open here. Let's take a look at Valerie Allman one more time. Right here. See, she's in that cowboy or saddle position. Both knees outward. Okay, and now the hips are actually facing much more open, and the chest is over here this way, so she's got really good separation. Your upper body's fine. It's just the hips have to get farther ahead. Okay, and you don't want this delay of having to turn this left foot like you do and rotating it. See, because her foot's already down, she can immediately turn against it and then extend the left leg. This arch in your back, you want to try to avoid that. You look at Valerie Allman from her head to her foot. See how straight she is? Okay, that's a much stronger position. Also, you want to make sure this left leg gets fully extended. See, your left leg is straight. Then you also want to keep this left toe on the ground as much as you can, or close to it, with this high right heel. Bring that right knee down, push the heel forward, like you see here. This is what allows her to have this angle back here, because his leg is bent. If the leg is straightened, you'll see like you're doing here, she's almost vertical. Okay, if your back wasn't arched, your head and your body in alignment would be a lot more vertical. You can see how her left leg is actually blocking backwards, and yours is a lot more vertical here. Let's take a look at Sandra Perkovic too, the same position. Okay, she's coming down. She lands. She's got less bend in her left leg, but she extends it up right here. See how the heel comes up on the right foot? That keeps the knee down and also allows you to keep this angle here. See, even though her head is back, she doesn't have this arch in the back like you have, okay? That's a weaker position, so you want to try to keep that straight from your head to your foot, okay? And she follows through. See the right hip? It's going past the left hip here. The left hip actually pushes back as she extends that left leg. Watch the left hip right here. You see it extend backwards. See that? As the right hip goes forward. Let's take a look at your hips here. There your right hip goes a little bit forward, so that's good right there. But you can get a little more power out of that by keeping this knee bent, driving that right hip around, keeping the left foot planted longer. See, you're rotating it because it wasn't open far enough to the front. Your foot is blocked off too much, so keep it a little bit more forward. So you see how it's turning on the ground. So you're really losing your block there, because the left doesn't have a stationary left side to the right side doesn't have a stationary left side to push against. Okay. Let's see. And the last thing I wanted to show you was the actual discus in the air, so you could see what I was talking about with the wobble. Let me get the magnifier on this. All right, we're going to watch your discus in flight. All right, and there it goes. See how it tilted? Now the right side is up. Now the left side is up. Now the front side is up. Now the right side is up again. Now the left side is up. Right side up. You can just see the wobble. It's basically, I don't think it's spinning very fast in the air either. So try that drill I showed you from the John Bowman video, where you just throw the discus out straight ahead, and just try to get it to fly flat. Try to get it to fly fast, and work on that. And I think the other thing is having this higher orbit right here, where the discus is much higher, and your heel's up. So you're throwing from here around to here. I think setting that orbit up is going to do much better, because you're not moving the discus from a horizontal kind of direction here, or orbit, to a higher orbit, more rounded oval, or an oval orbit upward. I think that'll help keep the discus a lot more stable in flight. I'm trying to see right here too. We talked before about your wrist right here. See that? Okay, you want to try to keep that discus as high as you can, as flat. Let's take a look here at Valerie Ullman in the same position, right here. She's got a. You can't really see. Let me get a video from the front. Yeah, she's moving too fast. Can't really see it. Let's try from this direction. Okay, now you can see she's got a slight bend in the wrist here. You've got the discus almost vertical. Okay, that's, I'm sure, is going to affect your release. Yeah, you can see how she released it. The right edge is down, just like it should be, because the discus is in the air. It's going to try to turn over and land with the left side down, so you want the right side down to start with. To do that, she's got a slight lean here to the right. Let's take a look at your angle at the release. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, See how the discus... Yeah, so when you release, you can barely see it, but yeah, the right side is down, so that's good. I think this arch in your back is going to affect it too. See her, Valerie Roman's back is totally straight here, at least from what you can see from this direction. You can still see it as she turns. Okay, well, good luck, and be looking forward to seeing your new videos after you make some changes. All right, good luck. Thanks.